What's up, guys? It is Sam here. It is Tuesday morning at 7:45 or 8:45 in the morning, and I wanted to talk about what Elon Musk was talking about in the self-driving event that they had yesterday in California. But before we do that, make sure you press that subscribe button and that little bell notification so YouTube can notify you every time I post a video. All right. During the presentation, I think at least twice, maybe three times, Elon Musk notes that we came out with the Model S in 2012, and it's 2019, and there's still not any competitor in the market that is even close to competing with the Model S from 2012, indicating that they are clearly years and years and years ahead of everybody else from the vehicle standpoint. And through the presentation yesterday, they had three people presenting. I think there was a Peter something gentleman who came from Apple, Andreas Karpathy, I think. That was a very interesting one. And I think a Stuart. And so Peter talked about the hardware. Andre talked about the neural network and the fleet learning. And Stuart talked about something else that is, I'm not remember what it was. Anyways, the point of why Elon believes this is because you have, if you think about, say, Apple, when they came out with the, and I don't use an iPhone, I use an Android, but I appreciate how well an iPhone works. You have the complete integration of everything from the hardware, the software for the user experience, and that allows things to work in a much more, think of just like a customized experience. On this channel, I do a lot of stuff in fitness, right? So if you have something that is very generic, you can just download off bodybuilding.com for your training program. Like, cool, you'll probably get some results on that if you follow through and you're consistent with it. But if you have somebody, or if you actually went through the process and created a very customized plan with a step-by-step process to reach your goals that took into account your lifestyle, the style that you like to train, and your lifestyle, like lifestyle meaning diet choices along the way, and how you like to eat, the foods that you actually consume, that you enjoy consuming, and the macronutrients and the micronutrients. Do you think that the second process, right, versus just downloading something off of bodybuilding.com, the second process where you go through and you have everything customized is going to provide a better user experience because you're able to get better results more quickly? Think of like that, but with the hardware and software for Tesla. They're designing their own chip that is significantly better than the chips that they were using in from Nvidia, and like tremendously better. The Peter gentleman talked about a lot of that, which was a lot of numbers, a lot less storytelling, but a lot of numbers that I right over my head. So plus I didn't have a lot to hold it back because there's no hair here, so it just like slid right over very smoothly. If I had more hair on my head, maybe it would have like stuck a little bit more, but it didn't. So, but the essence of it was that the chip that is currently being produced in all of their vehicles, in the S, the X, and the Model 3, Elon went on to mention that the FSD chip, which is the full self-driving computer, started in S and X about a month ago, and they started in all Model 3s about 10 days ago, meaning that every single car that Tesla produces from here going forward has the entire full self-driving computer already installed into it. And the capacity, they were saying how from a performance standpoint, like 2,300 frames per second or something like that. So when you think about having 8 cameras, they also talked, and I'll get into that in a second, but having 8 cameras around here and be able to pull the actual full video at full frames per second was amazing, because it's not something that is capable with the current hardware suite without overloading the system. And one of the things that everybody talked about, every one of the presenters talked about in their own way, was the integration of data from a bunch of different sensors. So people like to talk about the radar, the cameras, and the ultrasonic sensors on Tesla's vehicles. However, there's a lot more data that can be captured that is very detailed in terms of there's an accelerometer on the car to tell how fast and things are going, and all this. And then there's like the wheel, the angle of the wheel, and the number of ticks it is turned, the rotation of the wheels, all that kind of stuff. So all that is used as a double check on what, like, if the prediction is X, right? And then you have X plus Y is reality, then there's something wrong right there. So you use the real world data from the car, the accelerometer, the ticks in the wheel, the cameras, the vision learning, the radar, the ultrasonic sensors, and you use all that to confirm what the prediction is. So if the prediction says this is going forward, and there's this truck over here to the side, and there's a sign over here that for construction that says 54 miles an hour, and this, and the other thing, but then that's what the prediction is, and then you confirm that to reality based on what the sensor suite around the car is seeing. You can improve the accuracy, and whenever that prediction is not accurate, it gets sent back to Tesla, or captured that moment where the prediction is different than reality, so that they can retrain their neural network to better capture those things. So when that instance where something is wrong, and they have that both automated versus also the human driver, right? Like a cat runs out and maybe I move, then that moment where the prediction says this, and this could be running in the background too. It doesn't have to be autopilot, but it can be running in the background. A cat runs across, right? And if I move the steering wheel, that prediction was this in shadow mode, right? But then I move the car like this. So that segment of video gets taken back to Tesla, so they were able to see that. It gets annotated, just meaning labeled, right? Oh, there's a fucking cat that ran across, right? And then they ask the network for specific instances where they've seen animals like that come across. Then they take that and they'll put it back into the system so that the neural net can learn through that process of like, oh, this is what happens, so that they can correctly predict what happens with like a cat, or debris on the side of the road. Very, very interesting process. And the bottleneck was the labeling or annotating the objects or the things in the vision, right? Like, so we see things, right? And then we can easily tell, oh, there's shit over here on the side of the road, or there's a fucking truck over here, or, there's a bike on the back of this car. All these things, we can tell what they are. And so the only thing that you can do with a neural network is just label things, and then it picks out all the little nuances that we might already know using just our intuition from our brain. So you take all those and you put them back into the neural network so that can learn as you just ask the network for, hey, I need 100,000 more of these examples. So whether that's you get 100,000 per hour, or you get 100,000 over the course of 2 or 3 weeks of these examples, depends on how far out you go on that bell curve, right? Of instances where you get those tail cases, something where you have like a fire or like a car blowing up in front of you might happen. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, 100 a month or something like that. So it may take more time to teach the neural network how to deal with those instances. But that is also where the fleet becomes super valuable, because then you have a fleet that is able to learn much more quickly. They have 100 times more vehicles on the road that are teaching their neural network than all of the competitors combined who are out there testing. And because of that sheer volume of data coming in, all of those tiny little weird nuanced cases, they're able to capture a large quantity of those. So they have a very varied set of data, which allows the neural network to grow a lot faster. And all these things ultimately add up to the Tesla vehicles and the experience and the network being so far ahead of the competition when it comes to this. As Elon had mentioned, being 7 years ahead of all the competition already at this stage, and they're already in the process of developing the FSD computer number 2, which should come out in about 2 years. That's incredible. That's completely incredible. Also, he mentioned the Snake charger. If you don't know what that is, Google it. But it's essentially an automated charger that can go up to the vehicle and plug in, so that when there is robo-taxis, nobody has to be there to plug in the vehicles. Although having somebody there to vacuum or clean the vehicle would probably still be some type of labor involved, or whatever the case is. But anyways, appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments. If you have 3 hours to sit around watching Tesla, I recommend the video. I found it very, very interesting. You can just Google Tesla and their live event or something, and it should come up. I think it's around 3 hours long. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe and press that bell notification. Peace.